beverage. A hop if you wanna just bounce to my leverage. The evidence, as they say, is in the pudding. So show me the money like my name was Cuba Gooding.
Hello and welcome to episode 44 of Entrepreneur Stories. In this episode, I interview Andrew Jiang, who is the co-founder and COO of Andromium. Andromium is a company that is running a Kickstarter right now for a laptop. But this laptop isn't like any other laptop I've ever seen. The laptop connects to your Android smartphone and runs the smartphone on your laptop, making the laptop, the need for server power in your laptop essentially obsolete. It's a really cool and innovative idea. They have a great story on how they brought it about and how the team came together. And I'm just really excited to be able to interview them during their Kickstarter and help them give them a little bit of push as they go to the finish. They've raised over $2 million, and we get into how they raised that, what are some of the things that they've used and found to be most successful for raising money on Kickstarter. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Andrew. Well, we'd like to welcome in Andrew Jiang to the podcast today. He is the co-founder of Andromium. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joseph. And the company's name is Andromium.
Andromium. Okay, well, I said your last name right, but I screwed up your company.
Absolutely okay.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing, and I mean, I'm really fascinated with what you're doing on how you've kind of made computers a little bit less expensive. So give us like the quick elevator speech that you give to someone.
Yeah, sure. So at Andromium, we make the technology to turn your Android smartphone into a complete laptop solution. Our latest product that we've launched on Kickstarter, it's called the Superbook. It's a dummy shell. It looks just like a laptop. And when you plug it into your phone, it provides everything you need to use your phone as a laptop.
So where did this idea come from? Because, I mean, there's not very many people who sit around and think, oh, I bet I can turn my phone into a laptop. I mean, maybe people think about it, but they don't have the skill and bandwidth to do something like that. So how did the idea even come about?
Yeah, actually, very few people, kind of realize it. But most of the computing that we do in our lives now happens on our smartphones. All of the contacts and apps, all of the connections that we make to the rest of the world happens on our phone. And it's really that last 5 to 10% of things that we kind of need a larger screen and the laptop form factor, that we actually use a laptop for. So things like writing email and, watching a movie on a larger screen, those kind of things. So the original idea actually came from my co-founder, Gordon. He was actually at Google at the time.
Okay.
And one of the things that, people that are familiar with Google will know that employees are allowed to suggest what are called 20% projects. And those 20% projects are kind of side projects, things that people are interested in that they're allowed to kind of explore on their own that's not connected to the regular job. And Gordon proposed this as a 20% project, and then Google turned it down. And that was kind of the genesis where he eventually left the company to start to pursue this. And so that's kind of where the idea came from.
Wow.
And really what's interesting now is between the time when he had this idea and in our current time, smartphones have gotten so much more powerful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even Google phones, if you want to talk about their phones, are so much more powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, most people don't realize this too. This is, something that surprised me when I started looking into it. But, the processing power of the most recent Samsung and iPhones are more powerful than most laptops. And in fact, I think this was in PC World where they had mentioned that the processor on the iPhone 6s matches the power of that found in the 2015 MacBook, which is absolutely amazing.
Wow. So can it work with an iPhone, or is it just with Android?
It just works with Android.
Okay.
And I think when we were looking at how we wanted to approach the market, one, iPhones are a lot harder to work on because iOS is a much more closed system.
Okay.
And the second part of it is that you just think about the scale of smartphones. There's 4 billion smartphone units out in the world. 82% of them are Android devices.
Oh, really? Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So and this is just, maybe this is a dumb question, but is do in the U.S. Do more people use iOS, or is it still a higher percentage of Android in the U.S.?
It's split. But Android's market share is growing. If you look at the recent Internet Trends report from Mary Meeker, Android is growing faster than iOS, both within the U.S. and outside. And part of that has to do with just the flexibility of our smartphone devices. And obviously, don't get me wrong, I've owned and I've loved iPhone devices. Right? They are wonderfully built. But when it comes to things like being able to take, kind of a lot more custom control of your computing needs, you can't compete with Android.
Huh. So the computer you guys have made, the laptop that you connect to, is it just kind of like a second screen with a keyboard, or is there actually like computing power inside of the laptop?
So think about the Superbook as a dummy shell. Think of it as give me one second.
No worries.
Think of it as a dummy shell that has 11.6 inch screen, touchpad, trackpad, keyboard, a battery that powers both the Superbook as well as charges your phone. And then the thing that makes us unique is we've developed software that makes Android function just like a familiar desktop operating system, except instead of installing a new OS or rooting your phone, it's an app. So you download the app directly from the Play Store. It's called Andromium, hence our company name. And what it does is it makes your phone look exactly like a desktop, and we're simply just projecting or translating that image onto the device.
Oh, that's cool. So with your laptop, can you connect like an external keyboard and an external mouse to it? Like if you wanted to have like a workstation, like you wanted to put it in a workstation and have like the laptop, a second screen, keyboard, and a mouse, or does it not have that much functionality or that much?
I mean, the Superbook itself comes with keyboard and trackpad, as well as an extra USB port. So you can, if you want, you can connect, an additional Bluetooth keyboard and mouse to it. You can connect an additional USB hub to it so that you can, provide all the extra stuff. In fact, one of the stretch goals we made pretty early on was an extra USB full-size A port. And so you can pretty much add anything that you would normally be able to add from a USB peripheral standpoint, anything from additional storage, additional, accessories, mouse, keyboard, certainly. We've had people think about putting in, headphones. We basically took everything that was unnecessary out of a laptop, stripped it down to the basics, but also allow you to add on.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. That's really cool. So what, are people getting this for work? Are they getting it for fun? Are they getting it just to have a $99 laptop? Or, what are you guys kind of seeing as far as feedback?
Kickstarter is a very unique community, and we certainly love our backers, and a lot of them are, they're just gadget people. They're people that really want to support cool, interesting technology. For a lot of them, this will be a new way to extend their smartphones. One of the primary uses that we do see happening is that more and more people, again, from mobile-first, developing economies where laptops exist, but really only in professional settings. One of the things that we see happening is people taking the Superbook, using it as an extension of their smartphone, but being able to then go to work or to do remote, kind of like the freelancing jobs online, or being able to learn. And that's actually, I think, one of our favorite use cases for our product. One of the partnerships that we had struck before we started the campaign was with the Nelson Mandela School Library Project. And so in South Africa, we're going to be facilitating donations of the Superbook. And so far, I think 300 Superbooks have been donated to pilot schools in South Africa that allow kids to learn. And part of that is because there are so many smartphone devices out there that I think a lot of these places have a lot of donations of smartphones, right? And smartphones will provide the processing power and the internet connection and all that. without a larger screen and kind of like the regular productivity form factor, it's really, really hard for kids to learn. So we're really excited to be able to provide that.
That's really cool. So are you selling more internationally or I said domestically, like in the U.S.?
In the U.S., I think right now, if you look at our communities page, it's about 40%, and the rest is international.
Okay. Is there a country in particular that you guys are just killing it in, or?
I think a lot of our breakdown has to do with the breakdown of people that back Kickstarter. Certainly, we've gotten way more kind of outside interest from India, the Middle East, Africa. But in terms of Kickstarter, I would say it's the standard countries you would expect that back a lot of Kickstarter projects. So U.S., Germany, Canada, UK, Australia. I think the one country / city that is interesting is our top city is Singapore.
Oh, that's cool. How many have you sold in Singapore? If you don't mind divulging.
No. It's actually it's public. It's on our Kickstarter page.
Okay.
We've sold about 300 in Singapore, the city alone. The second closest city is London, where we've sold about half of that.
Wow. Yeah. So when I ran my campaign, Singapore was the top place also. Which
it may just be Singaporeans really love the tech, the community, but we've been also talking to a lot of folks in Southeast Asia, many of whom are Android, many of whom are really, really excited about new technologies.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how many years ago did your co-founder come up with the idea when he presented it to Google and they rejected it?
It was about 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Now, when did you get involved with it?
I started coming on as an advisor a little over a year ago, and one of the things that had happened is that post the first Kickstarter campaign, which didn't really go particularly well. I would say not necessarily because the tech wasn't there. I think that for the time, the tech, while limited, it still offered a lot of really, really great things, but rather there was just not enough, kind of like operational work to get the campaign ready. And people will know this, but there is a lot of work that goes into a Kickstarter campaign, a tremendous amount of preparation to have it be successful.
Oh, yeah. So what did you guys, what was I guess what work did you do the second time around that wasn't done the first time?
I would say the first time it was more that we had taken a product and just put it online.
Okay.
And I think that no longer works on Kickstarter, and it's becoming increasingly so. This time, we spent a lot of effort putting together a great video, a crazy amount of time writing the campaign. We built up an email list starting from 4 months before the campaign, and I would say the most critical part of the launch day success, and really it's the first day that makes all the difference on Kickstarter, was building up an email list. That took probably most of the effort, but it was also the highest return on actually any effort on a campaign spent, outside of course, the video being the thing that kind of everyone watches when they first get to the page.
Yeah. So how big was your email list, and how did you guys build it up?
I think we started the campaign. When we started the campaign, we had an email list of about 20,000 people, and part of that was from press. Part of that was from we did a little bit of Facebook ads, but a lot of that was just from finding a couple really great communities that were really into the product. We found a home on XDA. We found a home on the Android subreddit.
Okay.
There were a lot of really great communities that inherently were interested in this.
Yeah.
And we got them to share it. We got them to talk about it. We engaged with the community. And in return, I think because of the really positive discussions and people being excited, we got press from that as well. So I think all that kind of feeds into itself, where if you can get a small group of people really excited about what you're doing, then it also helps you build a bigger community.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's 20,000. That's a lot. In 4 months. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was super. We were super fortunate, and I think one of the reasons. By the way, we didn't expect the response that we would get from the starter community, and I think everyone tells you what you can expect is that about on the first day, about 5% of your email list will come through for you.
Yeah.
And again, a 20,000 person mailing list, I would say maybe 15 to 16,000 were we're on a list. We had a couple lists, but we're on a list that was really solid. But even if you assume 5% on a 20,000 person email list, it's only 1,000 people. On launch day, we actually had, I would say, a little bit over, maybe 12% of our mailing list came through right away, and it was
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Well, that's phenomenal. That is wow. And so, have you guys been able to track the overall success this far into your campaign of the email list, or is it kind of hovered around 12-13% success rate on that?
Now we don't know because we weren't smart enough initially to add trackers to our links. We're much better now at now when we run any kind of ads or anything, we'll add a little thing at the end so we can go. But we don't. But quite honestly, at this point, there's very little that we can do outside of just regularly updating our community, getting people involved, then I think fielding a few requests for talking to press here and there. But mainly, what's exciting now is anytime we get a wave of press, it really isn't something that we do. It just kind of happens organically, which we're incredibly excited about.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what are you guys? So you did your mailing list. What else have you done to market your campaign? Because there's not a lot of campaigns that in 15 days break $1.6 million. So you guys have been doing you have to be doing something really cool, or just you have an incredible product, but you got to get people to know about the product. So what else have you done about marketing?
Yeah, the marketing that we did early on was or at least before the campaign, the marketing that we did was very much I want to say organic isn't the right word.
Yeah.
We engaged with our communities, and the people amongst those communities that were writers or new writers actually reached out on our behalf because they were just really excited about the idea, and then that helps, right? On launch day, we had a really hard time convincing other writers to write about us. We did a lot of most people don't realize the amount of work that goes into having a successful launch day, and part of it is just constantly badgering writers to be hey, you should write about us because this is something exciting, something cool, even though you have no evidence of it besides just you thinking it's cool. And so on launch day, we were able to get 2 pieces, and one of the writers had written about us before, and they were in decent publications, but not the biggest names in the world, right? And then slowly trickling over the next week and a half, people started writing about us. My favorite one, I guess my favorite thing that's happened press-wise over the last 14 days is that we were able to be trending on Facebook, which I don't know how it happens.
Huh.
I don't understand the mechanism behind trending on Facebook.
Yeah.
But it drove a tremendous amount of traffic
to
our page. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Was that on just people sharing it, or did people at Facebook get excited about it, or do you guys just kind of have no idea? You just trended.
I have no idea. It's one of those serendipitous things that you can't plan for, you can't push for. I'm sure if you knew the right people at Facebook, you can make it happen. But that in the last, I would say, couple days really helped us make a push upwards. And I think at this point we feel really, after the first hour of our campaign, we feel really fortunate, and everything beyond it is just we're just really excited about.
Yeah.
No more expectations beyond this point.
Yeah. So have you been doing paid marketing really, or just it's basically just kind of been this organic movement with Android users?
A lot of organic movement.
That's awesome.
We're fairly we're fairly sophisticated in knowing how to do ads, and we'll tell you to put some of your budget into Facebook ads. We're looking into Google ads as well. It really is more of a like, depending on your margins, here's how much you want to be able to put, here's how much you want in return, and you should experiment with it. But the majority, by far the majority, I wish our ads were, we were really good at ads, but by far the majority comes from people just interested. They heard about it from somewhere, and they're excited.
That's so awesome, because that honestly, the way you've kind of described it is like an old. It's 3 years ago when people ran Kickstarter campaigns and they just kind of caught fire organically. You don't really hear that as much anymore, and I think that's more a product of how, or a result of how good or interesting your product is, which is really cool to see that like there still is that ability for a really interesting, cool, innovative product to take off organically on Kickstarter, because you don't see it as much anymore. I mean, you talk to these big companies who are doing multi-million-dollar campaigns, and they're, a third of that's coming from paid marketing. So I mean, that's really fascinating and awesome for you guys.
Thank you, and I think the other part of it is, and some of the stuff that did happen was because when we had reached out to a bunch of folks to ask them to help, and some people actually really took a shine to the project, and there's of course no substitute for a good product that people are excited about. You can't replace that with trying to push for press or media or running ads, but assuming that you have that, doing the work to get people to know about your product is at minimum that you have to do, because eventually even the people that heard about us through someone else early on, it's because we kind of took the effort to reach out to those people. And I think again, I'm really excited about it kind of taking off, our campaign taking off. But I do want to stress for anyone out there that is starting a Kickstarter campaign, it is a tremendous amount of work, but it pays off.
Yeah. So when you guys started working on like the prep of what you should be doing to run a Kickstarter campaign, where did you guys kind of come up with your strategy? What where did you find your information that helped you shape your strategy?
Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest in that we are not Kickstarter experts at all. We are also not marketing experts at all. Okay. What we did is we went to our network and found a few people who ran some pretty amazing campaigns. One of the co-founders of Pebble was an incredible help providing us with like guidance and support. Yeah. We talked to a bunch of people that have either helped or they themselves ran successful Kickstarter campaigns, and basically just took a bunch of notes, the 20 or 30 things that they did, put it all into one giant list, and we try to accomplish as much as we can. The one thing that I will say that we almost made a mistake on is we almost didn't spend enough of our like budget and time creating a really great video. And actually, my friend Nick, who used to run, who started this video agency called Glass and Marker. Okay. Basically, he talked me to my senses, which is like, hey, look, trust me, like you don't want to save a few $1,000s and have a mediocre video. Yeah. The impact of a really great video is huge, and don't make that mistake of making that pretty negative trade-off. And he was right. I mean, honestly, we actually started with a video that was, I would say, subpar. And then with the help of Glass and Marker, they helped us shoot a video that not only told an incredible story for us, better than we could tell the story, but clearly, I would say resonated with the audience.
So how much, I mean, if you don't mind divulging, how much money does it cost to get a good video? And the reason I ask is because I have a lot of people who ask me like, okay, how much did you spend on your video? And I tell them, and they get a little, they're like, well, you spent $5,000. And I want to say to them, well, go try to do that in California. it's going to cost you a lot more than $5,000. So if you don't mind, if you're not comfortable, I completely understand. But it's more.
Let me just say that at least it costs a lot more than $5,000. Especially with a product video that you're trying to do a lot with.
Yeah.
I will tell you that at least in terms of the range of proposals that we got ranged from $10 all the way to $50,000. We picked a point that was somewhere in that range, but it's expensive to make a good video. But I can say this. I can say this really, really confidently. I would pay that all over again. Of course, it's easy to say now, but the video makes such a big difference. And the other thing is, most people don't realize it's actually a giant pain to put together a compelling campaign page. And if you go to getsuperbook.com or go on Kickstarter and find our campaign, you can see that most of our campaign actually is just the video unfolded, like little images, GIFs that we took from the video, and taglines and lines that we really just stole from the script that our guys wrote for us. And it made it a lot easier. Yeah.
No, so when I ran my campaign, I ended up making 2 videos. I made a video with one of my friends, and I helped him write it, and I didn't do very well. And then I turned around and I hired a different group who wrote this script and helped kind of get all the things I was trying to communicate out. And after that, I was like, I'm never trying to write a script again. Like, I'm going to hire a professional and let them do that job really well and focus on things that I can do well. So that.
No, one of the things that you have as founders or campaign launchers is, we are so close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the nitty gritty of our product. And you kind of make these assumptions that you think people know, right? Like, I know, we know things about how Android devices work that right now are, second nature. But to most people, it's just so unfamiliar, and it really helps having someone who both is a good storyteller and is seeing your product for the first time, so they can say, like, your explanation of this, I kind of got it, but here's what really would have made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. So, now you and your co-founder, you're quite accomplished in life. He went to Georgetown, you went to NYU. You guys have been in a lot of different types of startups. Why did you launch this on Kickstarter versus going and raising money and going that route?
Sure. Yeah. Kickstarter is it's an awesome platform. One of the best things that we got from even the failed Kickstarter campaign is it allowed us to find a really passionate community. Yeah. And part of the people that have given us feedback, guidance over the last year and a half, many of them are from the Kickstarter community, and it really is by listening to people that would actually buy your product that you're able to figure out what's important, what is a nice feature, but probably isn't critical, and what's completely out of whack, right? Yeah. So Kickstarter is a great place for that. I would say the other part of it is when you think about launching a hardware consumer electronics product, right? Uh-huh. That is such an incredibly risky undertaking that if you can get a community to tell you that, hey, we actually want this, we actually want this, then it's a lot less. You go into the production process and really you go into everything else about building a startup with a mandate that people actually want what you're buying. The scary part of that, of course, is that most startups when they go and fail or when they're failing, they fail very silently. You don't see them fail. Right? You kind of hear a story about it, or maybe you just never hear from them again. Yeah. And Kickstarter is a really, really visible way to fail. To fail publicly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so but have you raised any money, or have you thought about raising money?
It's been a combination of we've had a really great angel investor who's put some money into it early on to help us get some of the prototypes out, as well as kind of bootstrapping it with our own cash. But we'll go fundraise primarily because I think the the key to making this a successful product is having a really great software experience. And in order to do so, we can't just hire Android app developers, right? We have to hire the guys that understand how the operating system performs at such a low level that we're able to, essentially enhance Android operating system. And I think in order to bring on, an incredible team, in order to make sure that the manufacturing process, goes off without a hitch, and in order to make sure that I think the overall experience of what's essentially we call it, it's a new type of computing happen, we're going to need to build a really great team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you guys are doing something very innovative. It's extremely different from, any other type of computer that I've seen out there, at least. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's super fascinating. I was looking at it. When I work, I work completely online now. Like I only use Google Docs, and I use stuff that I can't lose essentially on my computer. Like if it goes down on me, and I've been looking at like Chromebooks and books that are computers that don't have all the extra software that I don't even use. Like I never really open Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. I just open everything in Google Docs so I don't lose it, and it's there.
Right. And
so I've been looking for a simpler computer solution than the Mac that I carry around that has all this extra computer space that I don't even need. And so I think I'm going to go grab one this week just because it's something I could use so easy for work without having to have the slow starting computer that's trying to handle Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word and all those other things. So I think what you guys have done is awesome. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, it means a lot. And the other thing, by the way, I'm sure you've experienced this, and for anyone that's working on a Kickstarter, you'll experience this, which is that our backers are tremendously passionate, very excited, and some of them are like extra passionate might be the right way to put it. And so sometimes you get comments and messages that go a little bit over the edge. But what makes it all, and what makes it extremely, extremely exciting for us, and what we love to see is, actually hearing from backers that, really are supportive of what we're doing, also understand what we're going through, which, on the other side, it seems like, you basically just get met with a giant community of people that all of a sudden really have a stake in what you're doing and want to see your product succeed. But it's, it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. So for anyone that's kind of getting ready to do this, just be ready. It's a very interesting experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so do you have the Kickstarter app on your phone?
I do.
Yes. So have you sat there and just refreshed it and watched the excitement?
I've been doing that during our interview.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, it only someone who's ran a campaign can relate to that, because I was talking to a couple other my friends that are running a campaign right now, and they said, "Oh, it's so fun to just like lay there in bed and just refresh, and you're like, hey, there's another one, and there's another one." Yeah.
There's that, and there's also just reading all the comments and trying to force myself to go to sleep instead of answering, a comment from someone, and I think I've been losing that battle, at least over the last few days. So off to China, I think I'm getting a nice sleep over my 14-hour flight.
Well, that's exciting. Well, I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are doing an incredible job. Where can people learn more about your company and your Kickstarter, social media type stuff, so just so we can get all that out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the most important thing is go check it out. You can either go to our website at getsuperbook.com, or you can go to Kickstarter and just search for Superbook. We should be fairly easy to find, at least over the next few days. But yeah, come check us out. I think right now our own company website is just redirecting the Kickstarter page, but we're also on Facebook and Twitter at Get Superbook.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm very excited for you guys. Best of luck with the rest of your campaign, and we hopefully we can get this interview up in the next couple weeks and help push a couple extra pledges your way.
Awesome. Joseph, thanks so much, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Andrew. Have a great trip in China.
I'm looking forward to it. Take care.
All right, you too. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment and share it on your social media platforms. Thank you so much and have a great day.